I'm Aaliyah Martin, 25, and my life changed the night I helped a mysterious woman and uncovered a dangerous conspiracy. Fear and betrayal surrounded me, but with courage and Caleb's help, I escaped the group's deadly grasp and reclaimed my freedom, my voice, and my strength. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe. Get ready for real emotional and thrilling stories from Black adults that will keep you hooked till the end. My name is Aaliyah Martin, and I turned 25 just 3 weeks ago, a date most people would celebrate with laughter, a cute dress, and a dinner they'd remember for years. But my birthday ended with a rainstorm, a headache, and a feeling in my chest that something was shifting in my life. At the time, I couldn't explain it. I only knew that a part of me felt like it was waking up from a long, heavy sleep. I grew up in New Orleans, in a neighborhood where the streetlights flickered more often than they shone, and where secrets lived longer than people. My mother used to tell me, "Baby, when the night grows too quiet, that's when you listen the hardest." I thought she was being dramatic back then, but now I understand exactly what she meant. That night, the night everything changed, I was walking home from my shift at the cafe. It was a quiet walk, just 8 blocks from the shop to my apartment. Usually I'd put in my earphones, play some slow R&B, and tune out the world. But something was off that night. Something told me to keep my ears open, my eyes sharper than usual. The air felt heavier. The sky looked darker than normal. And the street, too quiet. I remember the exact moment it happened. I had just passed the old corner store when I heard it, a sharp, piercing scream that cut through the silence like a blade. A woman's scream, terrified, sudden, and then just as quickly it was gone. I froze. My heart started pounding so hard it felt like it could burst out of my chest. For a moment, I thought I'd imagined it. Maybe my mind was just tired from work. But then I heard something else, the sound of fast footsteps. Pounding against the pavement, a figure came running into view, a tall man. Dark hood, black jacket, gloves. He didn't look left or right. He didn't stumble or panic. He ran with purpose, like someone who knew exactly where to go next. And before my mind could even process what was happening, he disappeared into the alley across the street. I wanted to scream for help or run after him, or do something heroic like people do in movies, but I wasn't a movie character. I was just me, scared, shaking, and alone on a dark street. When I finally found the courage to move, I walked toward the spot where I'd heard the scream. At first, I didn't see anything. The streetlight above was flickering in that slow, annoying way that made everything look like a broken slideshow. Then, just as the light brightened for a moment, I saw a woman's bag is lying on the ground, thrown, torn, stained with something dark. My hands trembled as I bent down. The bag felt strangely heavy, almost anchored to the ground by the moment itself. I unzipped it slowly, expecting to see a wallet, makeup, something normal, but inside there was nothing except a single item, a small, old-fashioned key, bronze-colored, with a thin red string tied around the top. That was it, one key. I felt a strange chill run down my arms. Why would a woman be carrying just a key? Why not a phone or ID? Why was this the only thing left behind? And then the fear kicked in fully. Someone had been hurt, badly, and I was standing in the middle of it. I looked around, half expecting the man in the black jacket to come charging back, but the street was empty. The silence felt louder now, like it was pressing against my ears. A part of me wanted to run home, lock the door, and forget I'd ever seen the key. Pretend everything was normal. Pretend the scream wasn't real. Pretend the blood wasn't there. But another part of me, this small, stubborn voice inside, said, "No, don't walk away." Not this time. I swallowed hard and picked up the key, closing my fist around it. It felt cold. Too cold for a warm night. By the time I reached my apartment, the key was still in my hand. I didn't know why I didn't leave it on the street or take it to the police immediately. Maybe I wanted answers. Maybe I wanted to believe I could help someone. Or maybe I just didn't trust the world to do the right thing. That night, I barely slept. The scream kept echoing in my ears. The image of the man running played again and again in my mind. And the key sat on my nightstand, catching the faint glow of the streetlight through my window. I didn't know who the woman was. I didn't know where the scream had come from. I didn't know why a stranger's key was now in my possession. But deep down, I knew one thing with complete certainty: my life had changed the moment I picked up that key, and there was no going back. Asterisk, I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes. I saw blood. The woman's hand slipped from mine. Her voice hoarse, cracking, echoing inside my skull. Run before they see you. By morning, I felt like my bones were hollow. I sat by the window of my tiny apartment, watching the Onyx River from a distance. The same river where I had pulled a dying woman onto the shore 12 hours earlier. The morning fog curled over the water like something alive, like it was hiding. Secrets beneath it. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. My chest tightened. I stared at the screen, terrified that if I answered, some invisible trap would snap shut, but not answering felt worse. I picked up. Is this Aaliyah Martin? A man asked. His voice was low, official, steady. This is Detective Rowan Hayes. You were seen on a traffic camera near the Nix Bridge last night. I need you to come down to the station. My stomach dropped. Not even 24 hours had passed. They already found me. I tried to swallow, but fear had dried my throat. I wasn't doing anything wrong. You were the last person to be seen near the victim, Hayes said calmly. We just need a statement. Victim. The word hit me harder than I expected. Is she? I couldn't finish the sentence. There was a pause. She didn't make it. He said. Something inside me broke a little after hanging up. I changed into black jeans and a hoodie, tied my braids back, and forced myself to leave the apartment. Every sound made me flinch. Every passing car felt like a threat. The police station looked colder than I imagined, gray walls, tinted windows. A buzzing fluorescent light flickering above the entrance like a dying insect. Detective Rowan. Hayes met me at the front. He was tall. Maybe late 30s, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. His expression wasn't hostile. But it wasn't friendly either, Ms. Martin, he said. Extending a hand, I nodded but didn't take it. He didn't push out as he led me down the hallway. My chest tightened. I hated being here. I hated how police looked at girls who looked like me. Like danger. Like guilt. Inside the interview room, a camera blinked red in the corner. A metal table separated us. Let's start simple, Hayes said, opening a folder. Tell me what happened last night. I told him everything. The scream. The splash. The freezing river. The woman was gripping my wrists with the last of her strength. But I didn't tell him the part that haunted me most, her last words, her warning when I finished. Hayes leaned back, tapping his pen against the table. You said you didn't see anyone else there? No, I lied smoothly. He watched me a beat too long. You hesitated. Because I was trying to remember clearly, I replied, forcing myself not to waver. He flipped a photograph toward me. The dead woman. Her face was pale, bruised. Her hair plastered against her cheek. But the worst part was her eyes frozen open, locked in the kind of fear that doesn't fade even after death. I bit hard on my lip to stop myself from shaking. Does she look familiar? He asked. No, you sure? Yes, I whispered. He sighed and closed the folder. Okay, you're free to go for now, but don't leave town. For now? I repeated, my chest tightening. We have reason to believe this wasn't an accident, he said. Someone hurt her before she hit the water. I gripped the edge of my chair. Why are you telling me this? Because whoever killed her might think you saw something. His words felt like ice sliding down my spine. I didn't wait for him to say anything else. I just left. Outside, the sun had risen, but somehow everything looked darker. I wrapped my arms around myself and walked fast. Too fast. Like something was following me, because something was, across the street, a black SUV was parked under a tree. Windows tinted. Engine off. But I could feel eyes on me, heavy, cold. Watching. I stopped. The window rolled down an inch. Just an inch, but it was enough to see a pad. Silhouette. A man, still. UNMOVING. Waiting. My heartbeat thudded painfully as I forced myself to keep walking. When I reached the corner, I risked a glance back. The SUV was gone. Vanished. By the time I reached my apartment, my hands were shaking so bad I couldn't get the key in the door. I finally stumbled inside and locked everything behind me. I leaned against the wall, breath trembling. The woman died in my arms. Her killer knew, and now they were looking for me. I didn't step inside my apartment for more than a minute before I realized something was wrong. The air felt disturbed. Not messy, not broken into. Just different, like someone had breathed in my space while I was gone. The kind of wrong that isn't loud, it's quiet, subtle, crawling under the skin. I walked slowly to my kitchen. My shoes paused on the tiles. My favorite chipped white mug was moved. Just an inch. But I always placed it in the exact same spot. My pulse hammered. My throat tightened. I backed away, almost stumbling. Someone had been inside here. Someone who didn't break a single lock or window. Someone who didn't want to be noticed. Someone who wanted me to know without showing anything obvious. Killer. It wasn't a thought. It wasn't suspicion. It was instinct. I grabbed my phone with shaking hands and called the only person I could think of, Detective Hayes. He picked up on the second ring. Miss Martin? "2 think someone was in my apartment," I whispered, swallowing hard as my eyes darted around the room. "Did you see anything disturbed? Signs of forced entry?" "No, that's the problem." He paused. "Are you there right now?" "Yes." "Okay, Aaliyah, listen to me carefully. Go outside. Get to a public place. I'm sending a patrol car." He didn't finish, because at that moment, a soft, dull sound came from my bedroom. Tap. Not loud enough to be a threat, but just loud enough to freeze my blood. Hayes' voice sharpened. "Aaliyah? What was that?" "2 think someone's still here. Get out, now." I didn't need to be told twice, but as I stepped it backwards toward the door, another sound came. Tap. A soft metallic click like something falling gently on the floor. My breath quickened. My vision blurred at the edges. I ran. I yanked open the door, stumbled out into the hallway, slammed the lock behind me, and sprinted down the stairs. My lungs burned by the time I reached the front of the building. I didn't look back. I couldn't. Not until I reached the sidewalk and collapsed onto a bench. Tears stung my eyes, not because I was weak, but because pure fear had its hands around my throat. 4 minutes later, a police cruiser pulled up. 2 officers approached me, and a third one inside the building. I told them everything. My voice trembled, but my words stayed sharp. 15 minutes passed, then the officer returned. "We didn't find anyone," he said. "Place is empty." "That doesn't mean no one was there." Hayes' voice cut in from behind him. I looked up. He had arrived. He studied me carefully, then nodded toward my building. "Which room did the noise come from?" "My bedroom." "Let's take a look." I didn't want to go back in, but some part of me needed to face whatever was inside. We walked up together, Hayes in front, his hand resting near his gun. The officers followed behind. The moment I stepped into my apartment, my stomach twisted. Because in the center of my bed lay a single item, not mine, not anything I had ever seen before, a brass ring. Old, heavy, tinted dark from age. Etched with a symbol I didn't understand, 2 intertwined crescents forming a twisted circle. "What is that?" I breathed. Hayes approached it slowly. "Don't touch it," he warned. One of the officers took photos. My legs felt weak. "He was here." Hayes nodded slowly. "And he left you a message." "What message?" I whispered. He looked at me with an expression I hadn't seen on him before. Fear. Real fear. "This ring belongs to a group we've been investigating for months. A private circle, wealthy, hidden, dangerous," he said quietly. "We don't know their name. We only know the symbol." My skin crawled. "You think the woman I found was part of this?" I asked. Hayes hesitated, then nodded. "And do you think they saw me?" He met my eyes. "Aaliyah, I don't think they saw you." He paused. "I think you saw something you don't realize yet. And they want to know how much you remember." My breath stopped. "So what do I do now?" "We protect you," Hayes said. "You're not staying here tonight. Pack a small bag. Essentials only. You're coming with me to a safe house." My heart pounded. "Why you?" "Because," he said quietly, "the last witness who crossed paths with this group disappeared before we could help her." A cold tremor slid down my spine. "And I'm not letting the same happen to you." For the first time since last night, something flickered in my chest, something like safety. Fragile but real. But as I started packing, one thought kept echoing in my mind. Who was the woman in the river? What did she tell me to run? And what secret was I now tangled in that powerful people were willing to kill to protect? Asterisk, the safe house was nothing like I imagined. I expected steel doors, barred windows, officers outside, something loud and obvious. Instead, Detective Hayes drove me to a small brick townhouse on the quieter side of the Harbor District. It looked normal, peaceful even. A place where kids might ride bikes, and neighbors might wave from porches, but the silence inside told a different story. It wasn't peaceful. It was watchful. Every locked drawer, every discreet camera, every reinforced hinge whispered the same thing. Someone dangerous is looking for you. Hayes shut the door behind us and motioned for me to sit on the worn leather sofa. You're safe here, he said. I didn't believe him, not completely, but the alternative. Going back to my apartment where someone had left a ring on my bed was worse. Do these people know where the safe house is? I asked. No, he said firmly. Only a handful of detectives know this location, and no one talks about it. I nodded but kept my arms wrapped tightly around myself. My clothes still smelled like fear. The kind of fear that sticks to you like smoke. Hayes walked to the kitchen, poured water into a glass, and then handed it to me. I didn't realize how thirsty I was until I started drinking. We sat in silence for a moment before he finally spoke. That ring wasn't left to terrify you, he said quietly. It was a warning. Why me? Why me? My voice trembled despite my effort to stay strong. I didn't do anything. I don't know anything. That's the problem, Hayes replied. People who know nothing are unpredictable. They panic. They talk. They run. And that makes you a liability to them. I swallowed hard. So what now? What happens to me? We keep you hidden. We investigate. And we find out what that woman was trying to tell you. The woman, the cold river. Her dying grip. Her final breath. Run. Before they see you. I closed my eyes as the memory burned behind my eyelids. Detective Hayes. She wasn't just scared. She was hunted. Like she wasn't just running from someone, she was running from something big. He nodded slowly. We think she was part of that group. A member, or maybe a survivor. I leaned forward. Tell me everything, please. I deserve to know what I'm caught in. He hesitated, then sat on the edge of the coffee table, hands clasped. 3 months ago, he began. We started receiving anonymous reports, women disappearing. No ransom notes. No signs of struggle. No connections between victims. Just gone. A chill ran down my arms. We found the first body in the river 2 weeks ago, he continued. Same injuries. Same symbol burned into her skin. A crescent intertwined with another. My heart dropped. I knew that symbol. It's the same one on the ring. My voice quivered. Yes, who are they? I whispered. We don't know, Hayes admitted. But they're powerful, resourceful, connected. They erase evidence before we even know there was a crime. I stared down at my shaking hands. So when she grabbed me, when she looked at me, she knew they would come after me. Yes, a cold silence filled the room. What about cameras? I asked. Traffic cams, street cams, anything near the river? We pulled everything, he said. But what? Every camera facing the river was wiped clean between 11 p.m. and 11:14 p.m. That's when I found her. I whispered, exactly. My mind raced. So you're saying someone hacked the city's surveillance system just to erase what happened? Not someone, he said. A group. A very well-funded one. My stomach turned suddenly. The safe house didn't feel safe at all. A knock at the door made me jump to my feet, my breath catching. Hayes motioned for me to stay back as he drew his gun and approached the door quietly. He checked the PEEPHOLE and relaxed. It's just Officer Mills, he said. Opening the door, a young officer stepped inside, nodding respectfully at me. We got the analysis back from the ring, he said, handing Hayes a sealed folder. Hayes opened it. His jaw tightened. What is it? I asked. He didn't answer right away. He set the folder on the coffee table and tapped a specific line. I leaned over. Oil residue. Rope fibrous. Salt water. Trace blood female. DNA matched. Matched to who? I whispered. Hayes exhaled slowly. To the woman you pulled from the river. A wave of nausea washed over me. So she wore it, I murmured. Yes. And she took it off. To leave it for me. Hayes' eyes darkened. She didn't just take it off, Aaliyah. It wasn't removed voluntarily. What do you mean? The analysis says the skin around the ring was ripped violently. Whoever took it from her wanted it gone. And fast. My breath caught. And now, he said quietly, they want it back. I blinked at him. Why? I whispered. Hayes looked at me with a seriousness I'd never seen before. Because that ring belonged to a high-ranking member of their circle. A cold shiver crawled down my spine. And whoever wore it, he said, wasn't supposed to die. Sleep didn't come easily that night. Hayes insisted I take the bedroom while he took the couch. But even behind a locked door, I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching me. Every creak of the house made my breath hitch. Every shadow felt too still. Too deliberate. The ring lay sealed in an evidence bag on the coffee table outside. But I still felt its weight as if the symbol itself was pressing into my skin. I tossed and turned for hours before giving up. The digital clock on the bedside table blinked. 3:17 a.m. Too early. Too quiet. Too dangerous. I slipped from the bed and cracked the door open. Hayes was still awake, sitting on the couch, elbows on knees, staring at the evidence folder like it was a puzzle he couldn't solve. You should sleep, I whispered. He didn't look up. I could say the same to you. I tried. He glanced at me, then tired eyes, worry lines etched deep. Nightmares? Memories, I corrected softly. Her face. Her voice. The fear in her eyes. Hayes nodded, rubbing the back of his neck. Trauma doesn't settle in one night. I walked over and sat in the armchair across from him. The room felt heavy with unsaid truths. Detective? When he said she was a high-ranking member, what did that mean? He exhaled slowly, like he'd been dreading the question. It means she wasn't just running, he said. She was fleeing from her own people. Why would someone in power run? I asked. There are only a few reasons, Hayes said. They betray someone, see something they shouldn't. Or they try to leave entirely. Maybe she tried to escape, I whispered. Maybe that's why they went after her. He nodded. Maybe. We fell into silence, but it wasn't empty. It was thick, like both of us were thinking the same thing. If she died for trying to escape, what hope did I have? Suddenly, the safe house didn't feel safe at all. Hayes' voice broke through my thoughts. Aaliyah, can I ask you something? Sure, when she grabbed you. Did she say anything else? Anything at all? I froze. Her voice whispered back to me, hoarse, fading, drowning. Don't let them see your face. They'll follow. They always follow. I swallowed. She said to run before they saw me, I whispered. Hayes' expression darkened. That means they were close. Detective, what if they saw me anyway? He didn't answer, and that scared me more than words ever could. Before I could speak again, a harsh beep sliced through the silence. Hayes' phone. He snatched it up. Double quotes Hayes. He answered sharply. A pause. Then his face drained off color. What? He breathed. My stomach twisted. What happened? Hayes held up a finger, listening intently. When? He said quietly. Another pause. Send me the footage now. He hung up. My heart hammered painfully. Detective. What happened? His voice was low, dangerously low. Aaliyah, someone found the building where we brought you from. I felt the ground tilt beneath me. My apartment? No, he said. The police station. I blinked. Why would they go there? They weren't looking for evidence, Hayes said. They were looking for you. My breath caught. My skin prickled. They asked questions, Hayes continued. A man, tall, black coat. Said he was a federal investigator. Showed fake credentials. My blood ran cold. What did he want? To know if the woman from the river said anything to the witness. To me, he was looking for me. My hands began to shake uncontrollably. Detective. That means they're getting closer. Yes, he said. Much closer than we thought. I pressed my palms to my face, trying to stop the panic from swallowing me whole. What do we do now? If they found the station, they can find this place too. Hayes stood, pacing. I underestimated them, he said. I thought they'd be cautious after what happened at the river. But they're desperate. And desperate people make mistakes. That's comforting, I muttered shakily. He stopped pacing and looked at me. Really looked at me. Aaliyah, there's something else. My stomach tightened again. What now? His voice softened, but that made it worse. You weren't the only one at the river last night. My breath caught in my throat. What do you mean? We pulled late-night surveillance from nearby streets, he said. A traffic cam 2 blocks away caught something. He grabbed his phone, pulled up a video, and turned the screen toward me. My hands trembled as I leaned in. The footage was grainy. The night fog thick, but I saw it, a figure, standing on the far end of the bridge. Motionless, watching. They weren't running. They weren't hiding. They were waiting. For who? I whispered. Hayes met my gaze. For her, he said. Or for you? The figure turned slowly toward the camera. Just before the feed cut out, I gasped. Half their face was covered by a dark hood, but the other half was burned. Badly. Twisted. Unnatural. My breath faltered. Detective? Yes, he said, voice low. Whoever they are, they weren't trying to hide from us. What do they want? Hayes inhaled sharply. If that woman ran from them, he said, then you may have taken something they desperately need. I stared at him. The ring, I whispered. He nodded. Double quotes, and until they get it back, he said quietly. They won't stop. Not until they find me. Not until they silence me. Not until the river claimed another body mine. Asterisk. I didn't leave the police station until almost midnight. The fluorescent lights, the endless questioning, the cold metal chair beneath me, everything had drained the energy straight from my bones. When Detective Halley finally allowed me to go, his last words clung to my thoughts like wet shadows. Someone watched you long before the break-in. Don't trust too easily, Aaliyah. That warning replayed again and again as I walked through the dim parking lot to my car. The street felt unusually quiet. Too quiet. Every sound, the rustle of leaves, the hum of a distant engine hit my nerves like a spark. By the time I reached my apartment, I was shaking. As soon as I stepped inside, I locked the door, slid the chain into place, and checked the windows. For the first time in my life, my home felt like a fragile box. Thin walls, thin doors, thin safety. I changed into sweatpants and tried to breathe normally, but my mind refused to settle. I kept thinking about the envelope, about the picture of the man with cold eyes, about the sense that something in my life was unraveling one invisible thread at a time, and it didn't help that there was someone I couldn't stop thinking about. Caleb. He had been comforting and warm. Buchan's word questions were circling him like orbiting moons. Why had he shown up right after the break-in? Why did Detective Halley seem curious about him? And why did the sight of him earlier standing there with worry all over his face feel like both safety and danger at the same time? I hated doubting him. But fear doesn't care about feelings. It only cares about survival. Around 1 a.m., I finally sat on my couch with a blanket and decided to distract myself. I opened my father's old notebook, the one I found inside the broken drawer. I hadn't dared to read it earlier, but the silence of the night pushed me toward it. The first page had his handwriting. Bold and familiar. If anything ever happens to me, protect her. She's not supposed to be found. My heart lodged in my throat. I flipped to the next page. Dates, addresses, notes, meetings. None of it made sense at first. But on page 6, something made my blood run cold. March 11th, spotted the black SUV again. Same plates as before. They're watching the shop now. If they figure out who she is, it's over. Me. I gripped the notebook so hard my fingers ached. My dad hadn't just been protecting me from ordinary danger, there had been a pursuit. Years before I ever noticed anything strange. Someone had been watching us long before he died. Suddenly the lamp beside me flickered. Once. Twice. Then the room darkened into a dim, eerie glow. I froze. Power outage? Or something else. The building was silent. No footsteps in the hall. No voices. Just the quiet hum of the refrigerator and my heartbeat punching through my chest. Then, a soft creak came from my bedroom. I stood up slowly. The sound came again. A whisper of movement. A shift in the dark. I grabbed the closest thing I could, a heavy flashlight from the kitchen counter. My hands trembled as I moved toward the bedroom, each step sounding louder than the last. Hello? I whispered. No answer. Just silence. I pushed the door open with the flashlight raised. The beam cut through the shadows, slicing across my bed, my dresser. The closet door, which was slightly open. My breath caught. I had left it closed. I aimed the flashlight at the narrow gap. My pulse thudded in my ears. For a moment, the world felt like it was holding its breath with me. Okay, Aaliyah, I whispered to myself. You have to check. You can do this. Before I could take a step closer, my phone vibrated on the nightstand. I nearly screamed. I snatched it up. My hand shaking. A message from an unknown number. Don't go near the closet. The world stopped. My throat tightened until I couldn't breathe. My finger hovered over the screen, trembling, terrified to even move. Another message arrived before I could react. I'm watching. Move back now. Cold fear shot down my spine like ice water. I stumbled back out of the bedroom, gripping the phone so tightly it nearly cracked. My lungs felt tight, like the air had turned to stone. I dialed Caleb. He answered on the first ring. Aaliyah? Hey, what's wrong? You're breathing too fast. Someone is inside my apartment, I whispered, voice shaking uncontrollably. There's someone in my closet. What? His voice hardened instantly. Lock yourself in the bathroom. Now I'm on my way. I ran. Shut the bathroom door. Locked it. Sat on the cold tiles with my back pressed against it. My heart wouldn't slow down. Someone had been watching me. Someone had been in my apartment. Someone had my number. Someone knew every movement I made. And as I sat shaking in that tiny bathroom, one terrifying truth settled over me. The break-in wasn't the beginning. It was the warning. I kept my back pressed against the cold bathroom door, listening for any sound from the apartment. My pulse hammered so loudly it felt like the whole room could hear it. The silence outside wasn't comforting, it was terrifying. Silence meant whoever was out there could hear me, track me, predict my every breath. My phone buzzed in my hand, and the vibration nearly made me scream. A text from Caleb. I'm 2 minutes away. Stay quiet. 2 minutes felt like 2 lifetimes. I tightened my grip on the flashlight and forced myself to inhale. I tried to really listen to what was happening outside the door. For a moment, there was nothing. Then I heard it, a soft, deliberate footstep in the hallway, not my imagination. Not the building creaking. Someone was moving. My body froze. Every muscle locked. The doorknob turned slowly. I clapped my hand over my mouth to stop the sound that escaped my throat. The knob moved again slightly, testing whether the door was locked, and then a whisper, low and breathy, came from the other side. Aaliyah. My heart stopped. I knew that voice. Every nerve inside recognized it, even if my mind didn't want to accept it. It was the man from the photograph in the envelope. The one with cold eyes. The one Detective Hale couldn't identify. The man connected to my past. He was here. Aaliyah, he repeated almost gently. I've waited a long time for you. I felt sick. My fingers trembled so hard I nearly dropped the phone. A message from Caleb lit up the screen. I'm at your door. Don't open anything. Suddenly a loud pound shook the front door. Open up. Aaliyah, it's Caleb. His voice was urgent, desperate. The man outside the bathroom exhaled sharply. The calmness in his tone evaporated. He tried the bathroom knob again, harder this time. Don't make this difficult. He hissed. You belong with me. You always have. Before I could process the words, I heard the sound of the front door crashing open. Caleb's footsteps thundered down the hallway. Hey! He shouted. Get away from her. Everything erupted at once. The man tore away from the bathroom door. Caleb charged down the hall, and the two of them collided violently. I could hear fists, shouts, and bodies slamming into furniture. A crash, the sound of my lamp shattering. A grunt of pain from someone, then a scream Caleb's. I couldn't stay locked inside anymore. Threw open the bathroom door. The hallway was chaos. Caleb was on the floor, struggling with blood on his forehead. The man towered above him, holding something metallic, a knife, glinting under the flickering light. I didn't think. I just moved. Stop. I screamed. The man turned. When his eyes locked on mine, something twisted in my chest. They weren't just evil. There was something disturbingly familiar in them. Aaliyah, he said, smiling faintly. You look just like your mother. The world tilted. My mother? I whispered. You knew her? His smile widened. I didn't just know her. You were never supposed to be taken from me. Every breath felt like glass inside my lungs. Who are you? I forced out. He stepped toward me. I'm the man who created you. Your father. The word hit me like a punch. Father. My legs trembled. My stomach twisted. Caleb groaned behind him, barely conscious. No, I whispered. My father was Raymond Martin. He shook his head slowly. Raymond saved you, yes. But he stole you too. He took what belonged to me. A chill rolled down my spine. Blood roared in my ears. Whatever he was, whatever he claimed to be, he wasn't a father. He was a ghost from a past I never remembered. A predator who believed ownership was parenthood, a man who thought fear was love. Stay away from her. Caleb rasped, dragging himself to his knees. You're not taking her. The man turned sharply and kicked him hard in the ribs. Caleb fell with a pained cry. I snapped Dot without thinking. I grabbed the heavy flashlight from my hand and lunged. I swung it as hard as I could. It struck the man's arm and the knife clattered to the floor. He roared in anger. I swung again, this time hitting his jaw. He staggered back, cursing. Caleb crawled toward the knife, gripping it with shaking hands. The man lunged at me. I stumbled back, but he grabbed my wrist, squeezing hard. You're coming with me. No, I hissed, yanking away with everything I had. I am not yours. Caleb pushed himself up behind the man and pressed the knife against his shoulder, not stabbing. Just forcing him away. Move again, Caleb warned, breathless. And I swear, red and blue lights flashed through the broken front door. Detective Holly burst in with 2 officers. Down on the ground now. The man snarled, but Caleb held him until officers swarmed, tackling him to the floor and cuffing his wrists. The moment he was restrained, my legs finally gave out. I dropped to my knees, shaking, tears burning down my face. Caleb crawled to me, pulling me into his arms. You're safe, he whispered hoarsely. I've got you? You're safe now. But as the man was dragged away, he looked back at me calm, satisfied, like he knew something the rest of us didn't, and his final words were a whisper I would never forget. Aaliyah, this isn't over. A shiver tore through me, because deep down, I knew he was right, This was not the end. It was only the beginning of a truth I was terrified to uncover.